All right, I've had a few people ask about a kayak tour, so, it seems like a good day to do it since I haven't caught any fish in a while. For starters, let's just start at the front. We'll work our way back. Up at the front, I have a GoPro with I want to go over some camera stuff too. You get to hear it all. I want to tell you all about the kayak stuff, camera stuff, everything in the kayak. So, I got a GoPro 11 with a media mod, and attached to that is a DJI receiver. And then over here, I have a DJI mic. Up front, the receiver and the GoPro are both running to an external battery packs that I have down here. It's enough to fish for over 12 hours. Easy peasy. I've already done it before. It worked just fine. Down here, I also, when it's like crazy, you may have seen me before, I'll store my rain gear down there. Yeah, screw it. We're going to get those rain pants out because otherwise we're going to get goddamn soaked. I've stored a coffee maker down there.
And I thought I could just open up a little cafe while I was out fishing and just sail cozily into the winter months. It actually turned out to be insanely sketchy to do while out on the water, and I strongly don't recommend it.
All sorts of stuff. Whatever the most important thing needed is for the day. Next, we got the pedal drive. I put my own pedals on here. I used to have a mountain biking channel originally, and so I had an extra pair of these ridiculously too expensive and over, I don't know, what do you call it? They're too much pedal for a kayak for sure. I swear it's made my kayak go faster. They're just so smooth. Next, I have the hatch I basically just keep my fishing license in here. You can put other stuff in there. If I thought it was going to be really crazy, I might put my phone or something in there just because it's a nice waterproof thing. As well as the pedal drive comes up. Down here is the pedal. I pull this up anytime I want to get deeper into some lily pads, or if there's too much muck, or if I'm getting too shallow. My propeller is, it's protected fairly well. I've had no issues with it so far, but yeah, you can kind of get some stuff kind of wound up in there. As well as I've hit something going pretty fast before, and this thing will just pop up if you do that, and it will protect itself from being destroyed. Next, I have two little cubbies on the side here. On this side, I always put my scale, and I have these tethered on here. This hook right here attaches to a fish, and then it locks down, and I have had the biggest fear of dropping this and then having a fish swimming around with this for the remainder of his life. That sounded awful, so tethered on there, not going anywhere. On this side, I keep my pliers for getting hooks out. Usually not needed, but sometimes you want to, I don't know, especially treble hooks and stuff, it's nice to have a pair of pliers. These are also tethered, so they're not going anywhere. I do always keep a little bit of hand sanitizer. Sometimes you touch a stinky fish. Next, if you look underneath my seat here, I have always kept two tackle boxes. One usually has kind of the smaller stuff, and one usually has kind of my bigger stuff. And they kind of turn into junk drawers and get full of all kinds of crap after a while. But yeah, I got two of those. They fit under there perfectly. I got some tracks right here. Eventually, at some point, maybe there'll be a fish finder or something to hold like a net. There's all different types of things that you can put onto these attachments here, but I got nothing on there yet. Next is my paddle. I got a Bending Branches paddle. It's kind of like a, fancy fishing kayak paddle. It's really nice. That's all I know, so I don't know what a crappy paddle feels like, but it's super strong. I've used it to push off of stuff many times and had no issues. And then moving back here, I have my Rudder steering wheel. This controls the rudder back there. Makes it so I can steer. I got my cup holder. Usually I end up just throwing a bunch of lures in there at the end of the day, by the end of the day. And then I have this, and it will lift up my rudder. And it will get it out of the way. I got my decking. Some nice padded decking right here. It makes it so I don't slip anywhere. This kayak is super stable. I stand and fish in it all the time, all day long. Not an issue whatsoever. We can fish like this all day. And then going back here, underneath my seat is where you could put a battery if you ever wanted to put a battery in here so that you could put a motor on the back. Do I want to do that? Absolutely, that sounds awesome, but it's just not in the cards right now. But back here, I have my net. I always keep the net on that side, always. I put it on this side once, and when I took it took out one of my rods and threw it in the lake. Wrapped up in some weeds, but we've got a good fish on here. Real ultralight, I'm coming back for you. So that's why that stays on this side. This right here is brand new. This is a catch board. I don't have it tethered to the kayak yet, but at some point that'll be a cool thing to start using so I can measure the lengths of the fish, since in kayak tournaments, that's what you do. I got my kayak crate. So in there, I just have tons of water. I got sunscreen. I got a extra hat, got sunglasses, and a bunch of extra lures and all sorts of fishing stuff. For the most part, it's just, I don't know, it's a big old junk drawer where you throw all your crap. Attached to it, I have 3 rod holders. I have my bait caster, I have an ultralight, and I have a medium light. Further back, I keep my kayak cart on my kayak at all times. It's kind of attached there. You can see those bungees going around it, so it's not going anywhere. Makes it so that as soon as I land, I can just throw my kayak right on top of the cart and roll out of there. And same with when I'm putting my kayak in the water, I can roll up to the water, chuck that on the back, good to go. And you'll also notice I got a pair of boots back there. I don't ever get wet. And then I'm also, when I'm loading and unloading, I'm taking these off. These are my little boating shoes. They're nice and comfy. Scupper holes. Here's a couple things people might notice and say is that, hey, you got water in your kayak. There's a hole in your kayak. Yes, there is. There's a hole and there's water right there. But the kayak kind of stays afloat on top of that for the most part. And as long as you're not overloaded with stuff, there isn't really any water getting in here. And if it does get in here, it goes back down the scupper holes. I got a couple up there, a couple here. I think there's some further back there. In the back here, there's more under there and back there. Tons of scupper holes, and that makes it so all the water can just head out of the kayak. The pedal drive works really well. Never had any issues with it. I always liked the idea of this one just having an instant reverse, so I could be going forward, I could stop, I can hit reverse at any moment. As for how well the prop deals with lily pads and stuff, we're kind of parked in some lily pads, but it's not a big deal. Anytime you get something jammed in there, you just pull up the drive real quick. Oh, there's something jammed in there. You pull it up, you grab the stuff, you yank it out of there. Easy peasy. This thing has about a top speed of about 5 miles an hour. I'll go ahead and show you. I mean, we can give you an idea of how fast we're going here. That's kind of an aggressive pedaling speed. I think the fastest you would do is something like this, maybe. And you're probably going about 4.5, 5 miles an hour, which isn't bad. I mean, we're cruising. I've gone through some pretty strong winds before, and it was totally fine. God damn! Good thing I put the rain gear on. Oh yeah, and on myself, I have one more GoPro here. This guy is attached magnetically. Pretty strong magnets. I'm not worried about it falling off. Maybe a little bit. And then I have both of those cables running to another external battery pack in here. That's about the same amount to keep me running for about 12 hours. My life jacket, I have a NRS, I think is what it's called. I forget what it's called. I'll put a link to it right here. There'll be a link to pretty much everything down in the description if any of the stuff you're interested in. Just so you can check it out, or maybe buy it. That'd be cool. And this is my favorite thing. This is the boomerang. It is just a little tool that snips through anything. You can cut through any type of fishing line with this bad boy. It snips right through it. You're not sitting there hacking at your braid. You just snip right through it first try. It's pretty sweet. And then that just stays on this little whatever you call that, and that stays right there the entire time. Right here, I keep a knife with me at all times. I want to have a better knife, a more accessible one at some point. When you're dealing with heavy fishing line, fishing, being out in the water, you should always have a knife on you in case you gotta get yourself free of a bad situation. And this one, I have my whistle. Legally, you have to have a whistle when you're out on a kayak in Washington State at least, so that's the only safety check you gotta deal with. And what am I wearing right now? It looks like I'm wearing a freaking sweatshirt. I am wearing an SPF shirt. It's kind of nice and reflective. It stays cool, keeps the sun off of me. It's got a hood, long sleeve. Looks like I'm dressed to stay warm, but in reality, I'm just keeping the sun off of myself. This keeps me really cool. You don't have a t-shirt on under it or anything. That's what I've been doing most of the year, but today is the first day I've gone without any t-shirt on underneath, and I'm staying pretty cool. Right now it is 84 degrees out. We're gonna get up to 90 in a little bit. So this is the hottest day of the year by far here in Washington State, at least, and I'm totally chilling out here. I keep a long pair of SPF pants as well, and yeah, that keeps the sun off of me. Built into the side of the kayak, there's 2 rod holders. There's 2 on this side right here, one back there, one up here, and I have one more back there that I keep my keep the net in. This forward-facing one is my catching rod holder. So let's say I got something, I'm casting out there, I'm reeling in, boom, 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 boom. I got the fish right here. As soon as I start getting the fish like right to the boat, it's nice to have a spot that you can set your rod down and then deal with the fish. This net is a floating net. I learned the hard way. If you don't have a net that floats, you'll have a net that sinks. You wanna know a fun fact? What? I don't have a net anymore. Dude, it'll be funny to go back and look in the footage and be like, where'd that go?
You can't find where it fell out. It had to have been.
Yeah, must have been with the big one. I'm gonna put you on the scale without losing my net. Here, you can have some water. All right.
What is it?
Oh, dude. 3.24.
Alright.
Hell yeah.
It's a pretty big tour of the boat, isn't it? I thought this was gonna be a short little video, but I'm talking forever. All right, let's get back to fishing.